Just in relation to that, I welcome that we finally got the documentation. And I had a quick look at that, and I had somebody in the office look at it. And it's very difficult for us here now with 409 pages of documentation, and we couldn't possibly go through it, certainly for today anyway. But and then one loses track of why we've asked the question in the first place with this. So if I go back to the kernel of the question, an independent report was commissioned as a result of the most serious concerns by the service provider, the whistleblowers in particular, that provider had not been sufficiently funded. There was a feeling on their side maybe that they had been punished or suffered, but certainly I can stand over the fact that they were saying they didn't get enough money to provide care for Grace, which I understand, Chairperson, is the nutshell of it. And then an independent report was commissioned to look into that. Now, when I look at the independent report, I begin to worry, with no reflection on Deloitte, absolutely no reflection. They were asked to do a job. But when the Commissioner commissions a report and then they start to have all of this content, the Health Executive, the HSE, when they commission it and they have all of this content, I'm beginning to wonder about the independence of independent reports with no reflection on the company carrying out the report. I have to say that. That's the first thing. So what am I saying? It would seem to me, as a member of this committee, from the documentation that I've seen from the time I've come here in relation to this case, that not enough money was provided for the care of Grace. That's the opinion that I've formed. Certainly, separately, the High Court in a settlement, and part of the settlement was to give money for the care of Grace to make up. So, to me, just looking at it in a reasonable manner, not enough funding was provided. And then we have a report where the Health Executive are at pains, in what I've seen in the various emails, to say, look at other services that we funded, look at other monies we've given out, and put this in comparison. But does that mean that there are Grace cases in other institutions that are comparable? Because it seems to me that this stands on its own for the facts of the Grace case, and the service provider had to take the case over and provide additional services to her. So it should be clear, did the Health Executive fund the service provider for that purpose, or did they not? Did they recognise that this was a special case? A very special case that needed full attention on a daily basis, 24 hours a day almost. Did they recognise that? Is that to be seen? I don't see it. Now, I'll be guided by you, Chair, as to where we go with all of this documentation, but I'm saying on the record, I have serious concerns about a report, and again I'm emphasising, not to lie, the independence of a report that's commissioned by a Health Executive, and then they seek to determine the way it's laid out. They appear to do that.
Okay.